and welcome to the My Texas Future Learning Institute Session 2. Our attendees are coming in from the waiting room right now. So while everyone's entering from the waiting room and joining us this morning, if you don't mind saying hello in the chat and let us know where you're from, what your role is, if you're in a school, if you're in a higher ed institution. We are recording. And I see people are still joining. So welcome to session 2. Before we officially get started, we have a couple of housekeeping items and some things to let you know about. So just a couple of things. First of all, we will send the materials, links, and the recording to everyone that has registered for the session. We always do that in all of the sessions that we host, so you will receive everything. Jared on our team will also be dropping links if you want to take a look at things during the session, but you don't have to. So you will get everything that we covered today in a follow-up email that he sends out in just a few days. As a reminder, we encourage you to join us for the rest of the school year. We have 2 more My Texas Future Learning Institute sessions in February and April because we're covering different information on My Texas Future in the sessions. If you are joining us for the first time this morning, welcome. We had session 1 already this year, but you can always jump in and we can give you the recording of session 1 that we did, I believe in September. So thank you for joining us this morning. We also ask that you use the Q&A box to pop your questions in because sometimes they disappear from the chat. And we have some staff members that are going to try to answer those questions as we go through the webinar. And it's just easier for us to find those. But we also do have time at the end for Q&A as well. So if we don't get to your question in the Q&A box, we will toward the end of the session. And we have 90 minutes this morning with each other. So welcome to our second session of the My Texas Future Learning Institute, where your tomorrow starts today with My Texas Future. Sometimes you'll also hear us refer to this tool as MTF because we've started to call it MTF. We've been working and updating on it for several months now. We're really thrilled to support your students' success this year with all of the exciting new features of My Texas Future and share them with you today. My Texas Future, if you're just joining us and just learning about this, it's a new digital platform that provides resources that are tailored to the needs of your middle school and high school students, and also adult learners, depending on which format you're using. So MTF makes the career planning experience much more personal, meaningful, and connected to your students' goals and aspirations. And it also provides some really great data on regional jobs that are in demand in Texas and regional job earnings. And we will talk a little bit more about those features this morning. So this is our My Texas Future Learning Institute session 2. So we just want to make sure that we cover college and career action plans that give learners a step-by-step task list of action items to complete each year to prepare for college and career. So this is just an example of what you all are going to learn in the Institute. So we really wanted to plan this out and make sure that attendees gain in-depth information needed to use My Texas Future comprehensively with students this year. And you're also to be able to revisit the site year after year and in the future when you continue to work with your students. We also wanted to provide access to a new set of educator toolkits that include some activities that you can do, sort of turnkeys, so you can dive right in this year and use My Texas Future with your students. So those have student activities and tips on navigating the site, and we'll cover the middle school toolkit today. This morning, we're also going to talk about the College and Career Action Plans and the Program Explorer from our product team. And everyone that is here this morning with us live will also earn continuing professional education credit So you'll receive a certificate for your CPE credit for learning with us today. So who should attend our sessions? Everyone, of course, is welcome that happens to be doing post-secondary planning with students. Well, we have included counselors, advisors, teachers, administrators, higher education advisors, and higher ed staff. Everyone's encouraged to participate if you happen to be helping students or learners. And once again, we encourage people to attend all sessions. We know people are very busy and they may not have an opportunity to do that, which is why we provide a recording, and we have YouTube recordings and the materials that we send out after the session's completed. As I mentioned, today we're going to go over the college and career action plans, which some of you might be familiar with. Take a look at what students are encouraged to do in middle school, but also in high school. So we have action plans that start in the 7th grade, and we have some really great resources that talk about exploring career clusters, helping students identify endorsements, and we'll dive into the Program Explorer, which has over 100 different degree programs in Texas to help you find your students, use the filters, compare different programs, and find the right fit for their future. So my name's Laura Guggen. I'm Director of Professional Learning and Engagement. We have a couple of team members that are on a lot of our learning events, but they happen to be in Region 20 today doing a training. So Andrea and Lauren are not here this morning, but they help build and plan our sessions. Jared's here this morning. If you receive our newsletter, any follow-up emails and social media, Jared Garza is is our communications network marketing coordinator. So thanks for helping us this morning, Jared. And I want to give an opportunity for our guest speakers and our staff to say hello and just tell you a little bit about their roles.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniela Carrillo, and I am the program manager here at the CB for My Texas Future and Direct Admissions. Thank you for being here.
I'm Tina Woodings. I'm product operations manager, so I assist with user research and the analytics behind our websites.
Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Gonzalez. I am the Assistant Director of Content and Resources, and I oversee a wonderful team of program specialists who help us develop and maintain content for all of the resources, including My Texas Future that you're going to see today.
And hi, I am Ashley McKenzie. I am one of Samantha's program specialists, and I help to develop and update content across our resources, including My Texas Future and the Texas On Course Academy.
Thank you all so much for helping our session this morning. I think we're going to dive into some great information on My Texas Future. So this is really quickly, I just want to show our agenda. We're going to talk a little bit about how My Texas Future supports your college and career advising practice. That's why you're here this morning. We've created college and career action plans. So we're going to talk a little bit about how those were created. And then Tina and Daniela are going to provide a live demo of those action plans and also show you some articles and resources and different types of programs that are related to your students' action plans and the things that we want them to do at different parts of in the school year. And then we're going to dive into the Program Explorer. We created some student scenarios and advising that are pretty practical to show you how you can use the Explorer to help your students. And we'll spotlight some really cool features of the Program Explorer. We thought this morning we would cover a little bit of what's in the middle school counselor and advisor toolkit. We talked about the high school counselor and advisor toolkit in session 1, but we'll give you access to 3 toolkits that you can use. When you register for our session, many of you, if not all of you, provide some really fantastic, bright ideas that we like to share in our sessions. So Jared's going to cover some of the bright ideas that you all brought from the field. And then Ashley's going to cover our Academy Spotlight. So we've included a lot of information in the Academy, both on direct admissions and My Texas Future. So where you can find that information, and then we'll provide some time for Q&A. I'm going to turn it over to Daniela to kick us off on My Texas Future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Laura, for that great introduction. So welcome, everyone. Really, today, everything is based out of My Texas Future. If you're not familiar with My Texas Future, it is the state's college and career planning website for all Texans. It really helps Texans at any age, whether you're a middle schooler or an adult looking to go back either into college or to seek for a new career, to really learn about what opportunities are offered in the state of Texas. Really trying to reshape how we look at education, but also what career opportunities are seen. Next slide, please. So as we go through the different features today specific to the college and career action plans and the program explorer, you can find all of this throughout My Texas Future. You can select yourself to be either a K through 12 student user, or you can select yourself to be an adult learner, and all the features will be specific to the type of student that you do end up choosing yourself to be. You can choose to explore interests within your own area, regionally, or just throughout the state for in-demand careers that you may not be familiar with. And as you support your students, this is a great resource to be able to start those conversations and really dive into different action plans to be able to support them throughout this process. Next up. I do encourage all of you, if you have not already, to create a test profile. If you do decide to create a test profile, please do include the word test in your name. This will allow you to really learn more about what the learner profile does have to include, but we utilize the learner profile to really customize this experience for the student. The learner profile also is able to save the student's career and college interests, but as well as save any results from any of the skill quizzes that they may take. So really a great resource for them to ultimately grow along their educational career, whether they're coming from middle school and starting this process, or if they're coming directly from high school level to really dive into their college and career search process. So the learner profile is a great tool to help them just save all this information and have a reference tool as they continue in their educational journey. Next slide, please.
And I would just mention, Daniela, that we've included a slide on how to make a test account that you'll receive in your email. It's toward the end of our point.
So a question for you all today is, what college and career milestone checklist do you currently use with your students? And you can drop your comments in the chat. We would love to learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing. So I see a combination of school links, Naviance, TEA graduation toolkit, no dedicated checklists, meet with students annually. Yes, and as you all know, there are a lot of different opportunities and different types of checklists out there, but it's not always necessarily dedicated to what students may be looking at in your specific region. So I will hand it off to Tina.
Great, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Tina, and pop it over to you.
All right, so college and career action plans. I want to show you there's two different ways you can get to the college and career action plans. If you go click on the logo on the top left, My Texas Future, it takes you to the middle school, high school homepage, where then you can click on the college and career action plan page. The other option is you can go to up at the top, we have this blue modal. you can click on Succeed in High School, and there you'll see the college and career action plans. That takes you to this page. So we wanted to go through a few of the pages that we've created. We decided to start with 8th grade, and Daniela is going to help me walk through the content.
Excellent. So really the college and career action plans, like Tina mentioned, they are split up by grade, but really it's a tool that is able to provide content for the entire journey of a student. It is split out by the tasks that are recommended for the fall and spring and summer semesters as you do guide your students through this, but there's no real way, no prescribed way of how to use this. Really, the content is there to help your students learn more and to really guide those conversations as you're walking them through this college and career exploration process in the grades that they are in. So we're going to start off by highlighting just some content that we think is a great way to start these conversations with your students. We really do encourage you to start off in 8th grade with taking an interest quiz. So looking at the career interest quiz, it does guide you, give you a brief rundown of what the quiz entails and how you can use this to explore your options. We're not going to dive into the quiz today, but definitely please do take some time to look at that because it would be a great tool for your students, whether they're in 8th grade or if they're in 10th, 12th, 7th grade, whatever it is. There's a lot of great opportunities to learn more about what careers entail. Another area that we really do encourage 8th graders to think about, especially as they are thinking they're making their transition into high school, is to really understand what endorsements and career paths are. By utilizing the Career Explorer quiz, this could be a really great resource for them to really inform what areas and subjects they are interested in to really help guide their decision in terms of what endorsement may they be interested in selecting for their high school curriculum. So as you know, there are a lot of different options, and this is a really great article to really guide students through what each one means and to learn more about what each endorsement entails. Really, just this is a great transitionary period for students as they are making their way through high school. So as we go on to 9th grade, there's a lot more specific content that is related to high school and thinking about what the college and career process looks like, really taking on more mature steps like creating a resume and thinking about what the summer may entail as you move on to 10th grade. 10th grade also just dives more into like going into advanced classes, looking at practice exams, and rethinking that interest quiz. As you grow as a teenager, you know those interests change. So definitely this is a great tool for students to be able to start thinking about, have my interests changed or not? Moving on to 11th grade, really this is where I believe that the college process really does begin, specifically in terms of students thinking about where do they want to go to college. So we do have a great article on helping guide that conversation on how to build a college list and how to prepare and gather their materials. So really great content in terms of being able to guide those conversations with your students, whether they're in early in the process or just starting to think about that. Moving on to the spring semester, really having students think about, what does this process look like? And then diving into the summer where those conversations really do begin at home and as they transition into 12th grade. We encourage to really utilize this article that goes diving into preparing and gathering materials. And it does break it down into more separate articles related to each section of the checklist. So really great material to guide your students if they're looking for questions or answers on those specific materials. So moving on to 12th grade, as you know, 12th grade is really the time where students are fully into action in terms of applying to college or thinking about what career is next for them. Highlighting our great tool of direct admissions. This is a tool that we have created in My Texas Future to allow 12th grade students to see where they can be accepted by using their self-reported academic information. So what Tina is showing us here today is an example of what students will see after they submit their self-reported information, and can go through each institution to learn more details about what do they offer, and as well as really how do they take that next step by starting and submitting their application to the school of choice. So there's a lot of great information in the 12th grade section for the college and career action plans, really highlighting the nitty-gritty details of the college application process, including financial aid. As we know, financial aid is a really difficult conversation year to year, and with things ever changing, we do update these pages for each academic year. So really, it's a great way for students to be able to reference on different steps that they should be taking, questions that they should be asking, and just really thinking about what does it mean to have verification requirements, what is a financial aid package, what is residency information, and more. And as we know, financial aid is not just about applying for it, it's also about comparing financial aid. So we do also have a great article on comparing what those offers may look like, so students can have information on how to make an informed decision. So again, these are great tools and resources for you all as you're guiding your students through this process, but as well as a resource for them to have these conversations at home with their families. Lots of great information to really start those conversations, not only with them, but also with you as the support systems in the school. And then lastly, just would like to highlight the summer checklist that we offer for 12th grade students. I think this is also just kind of a great opportunity for students to learn more about what is it that they do after they leave high school, and what are the next steps before they step onto a college campus. So it doesn't just span into getting to college, it also expands all the way to what to do once I get there. So now just a transition specifically with the college and career action plans, it really does inform what the Program Explorer has to have. So in the next articles that we'll be highlighting, we want to highlight some of the preparing for college content that we have before students dive into the Program Explorer and ask themselves, what is it that I do? So a great place to start is with our Compare Types of College article. It dives into explaining the differences between public and private universities, community colleges, trade schools, and different terms that they may hear throughout their college search process, like HBCUs, HSIs, really understanding what those terms mean and what is a good fit for them as they are searching through our Program Explorer as well. Another great area to dive into in terms of articles is our Compare Degree Programs section. So really, this is going to dive into allowing students to learn more about what different degree types colleges and universities do offer, and really start familiarizing themselves with the key terms that they may be hearing through this process of learning about college and doing the college search process. So this is another great tool for students to really reference as they're diving into the Program Explorer and asking themselves, what is an associate's degree? What is a bachelor's degree? What is Bachelor of Science? What is a Bachelor of Fine Arts? Really diving more into those specific details so they can be informed as they make these decisions for themselves. So now moving on to the Program Explorer, would love to highlight a little bit more about what that actually entails. So our Program Explorer allows students to really dive into the different college programs and different colleges and universities throughout the state of Texas. Students are able to filter out the different interests that they may have, whether they're looking for a specific area of study or looking for programs at a specific school. Maybe they are only looking for colleges near them. They may be only be looking for an associate's degree or an occupational skills award. This filtering process really does help students in terms of being able to narrow down their search if they have specific ideas. And if they don't, it does allow them to really start to understand what options are out there for them. So we're going to dive into some few scenarios to really show you how this tool works. So we have a student here, Anne Marie. She is living in San Antonio, Texas, and she has a couple things in mind that she wants to explore. So she knows she wants to study nursing. She wants to move to Austin because she loves live music, has an interest of working in an emergency room as a nurse, and will most likely need to work during college to keep tuition costs down. So as we move into the Program Explorer to really start diving into Anne Marie's interests, we'll go ahead and just start using some of these great filters that are offered here. So Tina's inputting some of this information just by starting off with nursing because we know that's something that she wants to study. There's not a specific degree type that she's looking for, but we do know she wants to be in Austin. So as Tina scrolls through the page, we can definitely start narrowing it down by the different degree types that are offered, and really understanding what options do we have here in Austin, Texas. So as we, oh, go ahead.
One of the things I wanted to highlight is, nursing, there's a lot of different opportunities for different types of degrees, and she hasn't indicated whether or not she wants to get an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree. So it might be a good exercise to compare those options. So let's see, we've got here Austin Community College, we've got the associate's degree, so let's add that to our comparison. We've got, okay, University of Texas, here's a bachelor's degree. Okay, those are both public institutions. We've got A&M. Let's see if we can find a private institution in Austin just to add a comparison. Okay, so we've got Concordia. So now we've got 3 options here. So looking at this, what's helpful in understanding some of these terms is the icon button, which gives you a little bit more detail. So the average tuition is not specific to the degree, it's rather the institution as a whole, the average tuition for the entire school. We've got the loan amount. That's the average loan at graduation for a student graduating at that institution. And same with the average time to graduation. That's for the entire institution. So here we can see a significant difference between this is our 2-year, our public 4-year, our private 4-year. We can see the average time to graduation. Now, for a lot of private institutions, we don't get the data from them if they don't provide it. And let's look at the median salary after graduation. These are pretty close to being the same, but there's pretty significant loan difference between the two. So those would be interesting items for your student to explore, especially because Anne Marie indicated she needs to keep costs down during college. So we encourage you all to have your student compare 2-year and 4-year degree programs. So I'm going to clear this, and I wanted to just briefly highlight what these things mean. And I know Daniela showed an article where these were described, but the academic associates is typically used for transfer for the future. So a student that wants to start out at a 2-year degree program and then move to a 4-year. The technical associate's degree is designed to enter the workforce upon completion. The Occupational Skills Award, that's a high demand career field with minimal training. And sometimes that's more or less time than an associate's degree. And certificate is, it's used differently at each school. So some are pre-degree and some are post. So keep this in mind as your students are exploring what the best options are for them. Okay, our next student, Travis. So he is a senior in College Station, Texas. He is interested in the environment and wants to study environmental engineering. He wants his tuition range to be between $10,000 and $20,000, and he wants to stay close to home and save money. Okay, so Travis knows exactly what he wants to do for a career. That's an excellent start. He thinks he wants to study environmental engineering to get him there. So we're going to go to this other filter page, and in related careers, let's see, he wanted to be environmental, right? Environmental engineers. Okay, here it is. And let's go ahead and select his average tuition. And let's apply those filters. Oh, and you know what? He also, oh, he didn't say, he said he wants to stay close to home and save money. So that's College Station. And 30 miles. Let's see what the options are. Oh, okay. Well, he's just got one option here if he wants to, if we enter in exactly what he's asking for. College Station, we've got Texas A&M, they have an environmental program, and the average tuition, that's within his range, great. So this seems like a really good fit for him. Now, this is a pretty narrow focus. He doesn't really have a lot of options. So again, if the filters have narrowed your focus too much, you can go ahead and just take it off or expand the range. Some of the filters are contract what is shown, and some of them expand. I wanted to also mention this area of study. Because the environmental was very specific, maybe we want to just look at engineering as a whole. And that will also broaden the options that are shown. I think I still have another filter on, so that's why it's, oh yeah, if I take this off, then you can see there's a lot of other options around engineering. All right, so for our third student scenario, we've got Jared. He's a sophomore in Corpus Christi, so he's got some time to figure things out. He's interested in he does a lot of community service. He's interested in STEM. He's enrolled in advanced math courses. And he's thinking about starting at a 2-year community college and then transferring to a 4-year university. So if you encounter a student who's not quite sure what career they want to do, we advise to have them check out the Career Explorer. And if we go into Career Explorer, let's see, he's interested in STEM. So let's go to the career cluster, select STEM. Let's see, he's also, he's interested in community service. So that could be human services. We could add that. And let's see what happens. We know he really likes math. So let's see what happens when we apply these filters. Okay, we've got biostatistician, we've got computer research scientist, economist. So we've got a lot of different options that the student can explore. Geoscientist. So let's go back to our first page. I saw something that, let's say he's interested in biostatistician. So if you go to view details and you scroll about halfway down the page after you read more about this career, you can click on the Find Programs for this career, and it'll take you back to the Program Explorer, where you can see what your program options are. Okay, so now we know he wants to stay close to Corpus Christi, and I think close is probably 30 miles. And we know he wants a 2-year degree. Okay, so now, again, he just has one option here in Corpus Christi. So what could be some other options for him? Well, let's see, let's take off the location, but we know he wants to stay close to home. So another option could be online learning courses. Okay, so now we've got a lot more programs that are available to him across the state that are virtual or online only. So there's a lot of filters that you all can play around with. And again, if you ever feel like the search is not giving you enough results, back out of it and try a few different ways. We have areas of study, we have related careers, we have the search programs. That wraps up the demo I have for you for the Program Explorer, and I'm going to turn it over to Laura, who's going to talk about the toolkits.
Yes, thank you so much, Tina and Daniela, for showing us our student scenarios and the college and career action plans and the Program Explorer. I will go back to our slide deck and share my screen. I want to make sure we give, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Sorry. I want to make sure we give Samantha Gonzalez on our team just a couple minutes to talk a little bit about how we developed the college and career action plans, and then we'll talk and share the links for our toolkits.
Thank you, Laura. So as Laura mentioned, I'm going to provide just a brief background on the college and career action plans. So the action plans are designed to guide students through important college and career milestones at each grade level. These milestones prepare them for the next step, whether it's advancing to the next grade, meeting a key goal, or preparing for college and career tasks. These plans were developed from an educator-focused tool, which is called the Learner Journey Map. While the map is still in progress, it has already been shaped by valuable feedback from educators in the field, ensuring it aligns with real-world needs. It is not currently available, but we hope to have that soon. One exciting update is that the action plans will soon be interactive. This feature will allow students to track their own progress as they complete each action item, making it easier to stay on top of their goals and see their achievements in real time. And so the following chart here represents how the action items within the college and career plans stemmed from the educator version of the learner journey map. It's not highlighted here, but there is an umbrella action item for all of these milestones within the learner journey map on the right. And that is called Discover Their Interests and Skills. And so what we did is expanded what that looks like as they continue growing and going through each grade level. We just took a snippet, one key action for students, and we first started with how can educators make sure that these students are meeting all the subtasks below that key action, which is discover their interest and skill, and how does that build through each grade level. So as we're thinking through that, we turn these milestones into those smaller action items that are still pretty high level, but achievable for students. And those are the ones that you currently see in My Texas Future within the college and career action plans. The milestones in the learner journey map are educator facing and meant to help educators develop an advising strategy that would help students meet those action items. So again, we hope to have the educator version, the learner journey map, available soon to support all of your advising strategies and needs. And we're pretty excited for it. It's still in progress and still getting feedback. We want to make sure that it meets what it needs to meet before making it public. But yeah, just wanted to provide a quick background, and I'll hand it back to you, Laura.
Thanks, Samantha. This is also just an example of what this looks like in MTF. We showed this and talked about and talked through it. But the college and career action plans are also separated into semesters. So you can go in and also even send information to your students and parents home on what you want them as a junior. So this is the 11th grade example. You know, we want juniors to start looking at college majors in the fall. Use that building your college list also in the fall. And then on the right, there's also, I think the spring part is cut off, but we talk about what we want students to do in the fall, in the spring, and also in the summer. So, you know, as an example, juniors are updating, maybe doing an academic resume or a regular resume to collect their activities and achievements, taking entrance exams, SAT, ACT, TSIA 2, and maybe some subject tests, and preparing for college applications. In session 1, we also talked a little bit about how some of the questions that are in Apply Texas are here as well. So you'll see that in My Texas Future also. So that's an example of the 11th grade College and Career Action Plan. Okay, so as we transition a little bit, I just want to encourage you, we'd love to hear what you think, comments in the chat, what you may be interested in using, and also if you have specific questions, please again put them in the Q&A and we can answer them. In session 1, we showed the high school counselor and advisor toolkit. Jared's going to pop the link for a landing page so you can access all of these, share them with folks at your campus. This one in particular is what we want middle school students to do. So several years ago, there was some legislation that required us to do college and career planning and curriculum in 7th and 8th grade. So this is something that supports that. Using the toolkit to implement My Texas Future provides you with some milestones, the amount of time it will take to do some of these activities with students, essential questions that you want them to answer, what materials you'll need, and any prep for an activity. So the middle school toolkit has 6 activities to guide your students through My Texas Future features, similar to what Daniela and Tina just showed. So that career interest quiz, exploring those careers and favoriting some of those, getting started with a resume, and picking courses with Map My Grad and exploring with Middle Galaxy, and then planning and preparing for college. So this is what that page looks like. We have 3 different toolkits, middle school, high school, and a general one for just educators that want to use My Texas Future. Could be CTE teachers, it could be, you might be a college advising program, could be all sorts of things, but we wanted to give you some turnkey activities and also create the Learning Institute so that you don't have to spend a ton of time digging into MTF. We're able to just help you immediately use this with your students. So this is just that middle school, the table of contents here. You can see we want our middle schoolers. I'm a parent of a middle schooler myself, so that self-reflection and that career interest and building some of that vocabulary, starting to explore what some of those careers and even salaries look like, because that's important. You know, prior to high school, you want students to have an awareness of what their grade point average will be, and help them with some academic planning. So this is just an example of what that toolkit looks like. We hope you use it, and we also encourage you to give us some feedback on it. You know, an overview, you know, why we would created My Texas Future and why we want your students to use it in middle school, because we want them obviously to feel more prepared. Connecting back to that checklist or the action plan for 8th grade students, this is a sample of an activity to do with your 8th graders where, you know, what you want them to do in MTF in the fall, in the spring, and in the summer. Whether you do this in a classroom, you may do it through advisory, and you may just send it to them and have them log in on their own. Whatever that looks like at your campus, This is an example of, looking at the essential question, what classes can I take? And what pathways are available in high school? So there's some materials that are needed, and that introduction to introducing my Texas future in this example, which would be 8th grade. And the toolkits follow these 5 stages of career exploration. So that's just a framework designed to help students through the various cycles of career development, which starts with 1 here on the pink, which is just obviously exploring interests, options, actually doing some planning in stage 3, even if it changes. We know we want them to get some plans, moving in terms of moving through school and doing a little bit more research. And then stage 4 into that academic planning piece. So connecting their courses, their pathways, their industry-based certifications. And then of course, stage 5, like ultimately making some decisions about what their plan is for after high school. And then this is just a quick question so we can check in with you all. How might you envision yourself using My Texas Future with your students? If you have any ideas, you can pop in the chat. We would love to know them. This is still a relatively new tool, so we're sharing ideas. We want to hear what educators think, and we're also going to continue to develop features in My Texas Future. So this is really helpful for us to have. Yeah, I see career service advisor from a community college. This is awesome. It's a great tool. As you know, there's also adult learners, and this can be used with students and learners that are done with high school and have graduated, or maybe didn't graduate, maybe you got a GED. So it'd be great. Yes, Gear Up was another great example in classes, in core classes. Lots of middle schools have college and career readiness courses and transition courses in 8th grade, 9th and 10th graders. Yeah, thank you so much for these ideas. They're great to see. All right, I'm going to kick it over to Jared, who's going to share some of the bright ideas that you all shared with us.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. Yeah, happy to share our bright ideas today, and thank you to everyone who participated in answering our questions. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, just so as a quick reminder for our audience members and those familiar with our sessions, we always like to include bright ideas, which are your ideas. During the registration process for this session, we asked 2 questions. The first being, what are the benefits of introducing students early to college and career exploration? And we had an abundance of responses, and they were all wonderful answers. And so we can't thank you all enough for that. So some of the answer choices here are that it increased motivation, academic engagement, and improved decision-making skills. It helps students plan early for college and career. It helps students make informed choices on their endorsements and electives, and it provides an action plan for reaching goals and an understanding of the college application process. These are all great, answers and definitely benefits to introducing students early to the college and career exploration. I wish I would have had these recommendations when I was going through that process when I was in high school. Our second question is, what college and career milestone checklists do you use with your students? Here are the programs that were mentioned several times, the most being Naviance. I see Zello here as well, ONET, NACAC, Workforce Solutions, CCMR Trackers, College Board, and Avid. These are all great checklists to use with your students, and I hope this helps them in their college and career journey. And now I'll pass over to Ashley for the Texas On-Course Academy Spotlight.
All right. So thank you guys for coming today. I just wanted to point out to you a couple of places in our Texas On-Course Academy where you can find additional professional development and learning resources related to My Texas Future and direct admissions. So hopefully you guys are all familiar with the Texas On-Course Academy. You can access it by going through texasoncourse.org. It uses Canvas. So if you use that learning platform in your district, it is super simple to log on and use. So we have a module specifically focused on My Texas Future. It has been updated recently to add information about the new middle school and high school programs. And so if you'd like to learn more about the content that we covered today and how it works and see some additional screenshots, this is a great place for you to get some training and find resources to use to train your teachers or other staff. In addition to the My Texas Future module, we also have several modules that feature our new information about direct admissions. So the direct admissions program that we covered in the last Learning Institute allows students to input their personal academic record and learn which colleges and universities in Texas they would have automatic admission to. So it's a great way to take the guesswork out of the admission process. And so we feature information about direct admissions in 5 of our current modules. So you will find that information in My Texas Future, in Apply Texas, our ACT module, SAT, and our researching post-secondary options. We are currently in the process of updating that information for you with some really helpful like screen-by-screen walkthroughs to show your students how they go from setting up their My Texas Future account, input their personal academic record, and even what it looks like when they get their direct admission offers through My Texas Future. So lots of great resources that will be available to you there coming very, very soon. And now I'm going to pass it over to Daniela to cover some additional information about direct admissions.
Thanks, Ashley. So we just wanted to quickly highlight direct admissions again. Since our last Learning Institute, direct admissions has officially gone live on My Texas Future. So this is a great tool for any 12th grader to currently use this as an exploration tool to see what colleges or universities they could receive direct admissions. Really to highlight a few of the steps. So they sign up for an account on My Texas Future. Once they select that they are a 12th grader, they can opt in to participate. By opting in, it does allow them to input their self-reported academic information. And with that information, students will then receive notification of the different institutions that they can receive direct admissions by. The way they confirm that is by actually submitting their Apply Texas application or via the Common App to apply specifically for their major and to see for scholarship eligibility. Once they do actually officially submit that application, they get the offer related to the details on their major choice and what type of scholarships they may have received directly from each institution. So this is definitely a great tool, especially for students that are still unsure of what they may be looking for or unsure whether college is even a fit for them. This is a great way to motivate students to realize that there are a lot of different options throughout Texas right now that they are able to receive admission through just even by simply seeing what information it relates to each institution. Next slide, please. So some of the communication that we do encourage to students as you all being supporters of students throughout this process is that this is not going to be a comprehensive list of institutions where students may be admitted. We are currently partnered with 31 public institutions throughout Texas that have provided us their direct admissions criteria, and that is what the criteria is being based off of. Students can still apply and be accepted to institutions regardless of whether they've received a direct admission offer on My Texas Future or not. The holistic process is still available to students as long as they're meeting the deadlines required through each institution, and we do provide that information on the website. Students must still complete their application by the deadlines in order to receive the program and scholarship eligibility. We do encourage to use Apply Texas, but students can also submit their application via Common App and still be eligible for their direct admissions offer through that they have received through My Texas Future. At the end of the day, all of this information is going to be dependent on the validation of their self-reported data. So that's another reason why it's important for them to still submit their application with their official documents. So if you have any questions, I'm here to support counselors and educational supporters to students that may have more questions and information about direct admissions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniela, for talking about direct admissions. We will send that very specific information out also in our email. Jared, do you want to talk a little bit about our professional learning series?
Yeah, of course. So the Texas On Course Special Learning Series is a free digital learning opportunity for Texas middle school and high school educators focusing on college and career planning. On the second Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, you can connect with your colleagues and learn from expert guest speakers on relevant counseling and advising topics. Our next session will not be until February 11th due to the holiday season, but in our next session, we will cover the Texas First program and how it's rewarding Texas early graduates. We'll have staff from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, along with the Texas Education Agency, to share updates and data related to the program. And of course, we'll have a Q&A session as well to answer all questions about the Texas First program. And I'll go ahead and drop that registration link in the chat for our next session as well. I do want to give a shout out to our Texas On Course Network newsletter. It is your monthly toolkit for college and career success. Every month we have monthly topics designed to guide educators throughout the school year. Our upcoming newsletter, which will be in December, or will be sent out on December 11th, will cover financial aid resources to help with the upcoming launch of the FAFSA and the online TAFSA. And I'll go ahead and drop a link to register for that newsletter as well. Also, follow us on Instagram. We're currently at 242 followers. There's an abundance of tools, resources, and information to help your students chart their career path. For example, there's posts that include tips for creating a resume, benefits of attending community college, even financial aid updates, and things to consider when job searching. And I'll pass it back over to Laura, who's going to go over our next My Texas Future Learning Institute session.
Thank you. I would also encourage you all to share Instagram MTF with your students, because we know they get a lot through social media. So great graphics and great information on that social media page that is building pretty quickly. So yes, thank you, Jared. We will have the next learning series. Professional learning series in February, and this is the next My Texas Future session that we're going to have. So many of you are very familiar with ADV, which is our chatbot that we have out of the Higher Ed Coordinating Board. We're going to talk a little bit about ADV and how it's integrating into My Texas Future on February 20th. We're going to talk a little bit about the opt-in program and what that's going to look like for your students, what grade levels. We're going to talk about ADV messaging and the content that will be shared within My Texas Future. And we'll also get an update on how there's, learning support within the Texas On Course Academy, similar to what Ashley covered today. There's a lot of robust libraries of articles on college and career topics. So we'll talk about that in February, and we encourage you to register. We do actually pre-register folks that are here with us today. So if you have registered for one of the sessions, you will already be a part of session 3. And as always, we create a resource document that you can use the QR code right there if you would like. That's just the resources and the links that we covered. It looks like this here on the left. We also send it out in the email. And so I think we'll also probably break down when we cover what in the webinar and the recording, and you'll also get the slide deck. But those are the links that we covered, the toolkit links and that sort of thing that we shared today. Okay, I want to pause there because we have actually ended a little bit early, which is wonderful. I see some of you have registered. I'm going to just pause there to see if anybody has any questions, if you would like to put any in the chat.
Laura, I want to highlight 2 questions that were
Sure.
asked in the chat, but I've already answered them via message, but I still want to highlight them. So one of the questions that was asked was, I've already graduated from high school. Will my Texas future still be relevant to me? I'm also on the quest of finding a college or university that fits best for me. Yes, absolutely. There are 2 different views in My Texas Future, whether you choose a K through 12 student view or an adult learner view. The adult learner view is going to be more focused on either transferring or going to a college for the first time, but you have already graduated from high school, really making that experience and information more detail oriented to an adult learner experience. So make sure that you register for an account and choose the adult learner learning section there. The second question that I do want to highlight as well was, will the answers to My Texas Future that have the Apply Texas icon be automatically added to the Apply Texas application? So not at this time. We're currently in the process of developing that feature, but it does allow students to know that those questions are as well asked in Apply Texas. A really good rule of practice for especially our students who might be not quite yet ready to apply. It's that this is a really great tool to serve as a record, as a journal of what their activities are. So by the time that they do go to apply in Apply Texas, they know the answers exactly related to what questions in Apply Texas they do have to answer. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for answering those in the Q&A, Daniela, and then also live. If any other questions come up, please, we're still here for a few minutes. If you're thinking about those, we also really appreciate your feedback. So if you can take literally a couple of minutes to just fill out a couple of questions for us. We read this feedback. It is what shapes the design of our learning sessions and also what we create and what you all want to know. So we appreciate your feedback. We thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thanks, everyone.